Welcome back, everyone. So, UVS Games released a teaser, a design teaser for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles set that's coming out next month in August. Camera's a little off. And I thought I'd go through it a little bit. Full disclosure, I'm not the biggest fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and before you click off the video, I just didn't grow up with it. I mean, I grew up in like the early 90s. I was born in the late 80s, but it never really just captured me. I did like the arcade games, like the Turtles in Time, where you could run around with all four turtles as like a four-player game. I loved that game. I actually have it on my Nintendo Switch on the ports. But I'm really excited that a lot of other people are excited for this IP, and I hope it draws a lot of more people in. But let's get into the design article. I'm not going to read word for word. You can go to the UVS Games website, and in their news section you can find it. And I'll try to remember to put a link in the description below. So for the setting of this set, it's going to be a wholly modern one, they say, taking place in the most recent canon of events from the Mutant Mayhem movie and the first arc of the Tales of the TMNT series. So that is this new 3D slash watercolor art style. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan. Most of my stuff from the Turtles has been from the 80s cartoon and those video games. So the style doesn't grab me, but again, as long as the cards are cool, I don't really mind too much. But for fans of the more classic TMNT series, there will be awesome alt art treatments you can collect, but narratively speaking, the current era is what you can expect. So this kind of goes to a point where they're trying to develop the worlds of Universus, and I think, I don't know. Chris Smith had a good take on this in his video, so go check him out, Brodywan on YouTube, where he says that sometimes in developing the world and the story of the world in Universus, the actual design of Universus kind of takes a back seat sometimes. And I hope that's not the case here, but I can see where, narratively speaking, that could be the case. So for the set competition, there are 15 different character cards. That's pretty cool. And that is the ones found in the boosters, so that's not including our starter deck character, which is going to be a single character that has all four turtles on it. And it supports 8 different resource symbols. We have air, all, earth, evil, fire, good, void, and water. So finally, good and evil are back in a core set. That makes me very happy. We felt that these were the best symbols to represent the set, but also a key part of our plan towards supporting the symbols that got less love in last year. So like I said, void, good, and evil, and water got very little support, as did the all symbol. I think all only got a Challenger Series. Yeah, it got the Challenger Series for Sung Jin Woo, and then it's got the Ryu Luke Challenger Series for the all symbol. Evil only had the Tekken 8 starter deck for Jin Kazuma, and Good only had Jin and June. So I'm glad these symbols are getting some representation. Here's something I'm not a fan of. You will find that all but one of these characters will only have 2 symbols. They tried this with Attack on Titan, having all characters have only 2 symbols. And I think for a smaller set, where you have fewer symbols, I think that can work. In a rare case, Attack on Titan only had 6 symbols in their sets, so having only 2 symbols on each of their characters kind of made sense in that regard. but having 15 different characters and 8 symbols, I don't see why you couldn't do 3. I don't know, it feels like it restricts how you want to allow your cards, your characters to be played, in a way that I'm not a fan of. And this means that you can be outpaced by characters that have access to 3 symbols, especially with attuned. And as it says here, the rest of the cards in the set are attuned symbols. So we're going back to AOT having every card in the set only having the 1 attuned symbol. Now, I know I've heard a lot of people say that they prefer how Critical Role Heroes of Exandria did it, where you have a mix of attuned for like your common and uncommon, and some rares, and then like your ultra rares are multi-symbol. I think that's pretty cool. How I would prefer to see it, I doubt we're ever going to get back to it. But it used to be characters had a kit, which is like 8 or 9 cards with all 3 of their symbols that usually flowed with what that character wanted to do. I know that since we've introduced Attuned, we've been focusing more on symbol identity than like character identity. But in some ways that can also get confused. What I would like to see is having more cards have multi-symbol, and then have our back page stuff, the stuff that wouldn't directly relate to like any given character, be attuned, and then it could be more symbol specific of what that symbol wanted to do, and that could help support the characters in the set as like additional support. But maybe that's a hot take from me. Maybe having your commons and uncommons as attuned is better because they can be more generic, and then rares and ultras can be more defined by having the multi-symbols, and they can be more like character specific. But that was just my thought, especially when attuned was being introduced at the beginning of last year, that we could use attuned as like the back page filler stuff where we're just supplementing some symbol power. So moving on to mechanics. I have read this through before, and I will say that these aren't really mechanics so far. There's some cool new mechanics in the set, but nothing as complicated as Shift or Outwit this time around, which is good. As a new player-focused channel, having a lot of new things every set is really annoying. But here we have pizza, which, as you can see, oh, that's kind of cool. Pizza is just a black and white word, which means it is a keyword trait. It does not have any given ability. It doesn't have any sort of effect. It is simply a type of card, kind of like a kick or a punch. It says you'll find the new pizza keyword trait on some of the mostly good symbol cards, so it's going to be kind of stuck to the good symbol, representing the turtles' love for their favorite food. So we have extra cheese here. Response: after this card enters your discard pile from your hand or deck during an attack, you may build it committed. So if you discard it, if you mill it, if you check it, including a check to block, you just get to build it for free. Enhance flip: this attack gets +1 speed. This is an uncommon. It's rather weak in my opinion, but you can see that it has synergy with pizza delivery. As a response, flip after you check or mill a pizza card, add it to your hand. So pizza is only going to be around because other cards care about pizza. I get that the turtles love pizza. I don't necessarily think that this needed to be a thing. It feels like adding stuff for the sake of world building. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just old. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Am I just being old? Next we have schemes. Scheme is another keyword trait used for a certain action card design. that represents the machinations of the villains. You'll find these mostly on the evil symbol. So we have Trash the City and Wipe Out All Humans. So we have Wipe Out All Humans, it's a scheme. This card does not count towards progressive difficulty. That's pretty cool. As a first form, your rival's next check gets -2. That's pretty good. And then enhanced card pool, your attack gets +2 damage. So for each attack that you play while this card is in your card pool, you get +2 damage. That's pretty good. And then we have Trash the City. And this is kind of what I mean by I don't really care for the art style. I have no idea what's going on here. Is this like a bug? Is it a lizard? I think this is smoke in the background. Maybe it's because I haven't seen the show or the movie. I can't tell what's going on. But anyway, as a static, this card does not count towards progressive difficulty. As a first form, you seal one rival foundation. You just turn off all of that foundation's abilities. As a response card pool, after you play an attack, your rival commits one foundation. So what it looks like is these schemes want to be played first. Obviously, they have first forms, which means after you draw up to your printed hand size during your turn, the first thing you want to do is play a scheme with this first form ability. And they don't seem to count towards progressive difficulty, which might explain why they don't have any blocks. You'll notice these don't have block modifiers, so you cannot block with them and have your blocks ignore progressive difficulty. And then they have these powerful card pool abilities that after you've played them, you get to just use their abilities for the rest of the turn. I'll take a break here because we have the two uncommons here to talk about part of the art design that's got some people struggling. So as you can tell with these two foundations here, obviously they are foundations, they have the gray, but these are uncommons. You can tell because it has this pipe here. I notice you can't see my mouse, but it has this pipe, like where it says pizza. The pipe indicates that it is a uncommon. If it was a common, that pipe would not be there, and it would just be a straight regular border. I don't think we have a common. So here, the action Wipe Out All Humans is an uncommon. But the rare, Trash the City, you see this kind of break here where you see the blue bricks, indicating this is an action card. The first time I saw Wipe Out All Humans, I thought it was a foundation card. I'm not gonna lie. And I thought, first form, your rival's next check gets -2? That is dope. Because this corner above the 6 doesn't break away unless it's a rare, or I would assume an ultra, it's a little tricky at first glance to notice what type of card this is. Now, you can see behind the title, Wipe Out All Humans, you have that blue spray paint, indicating it's an action. Behind the control and the difficulty, you have blue spray paint, indicating it's an action. For the foundations, you have gray spray paint behind the difficulty, the block modifier, the control, and behind the name. You have that gray spray paint indicating it is a foundation. As you'll see in another card, we have actions and attacks, or assets and attacks with the gray, with the blue or orange spray paint. We're going to skip ahead to another card. Hold on tight. This art looks very graffiti-esque. So with Hold On Tight, because you can see this is common, it does not have the pipe. That graffiti for Hold On Tight that's right behind the title kind of just blends in. And I know that they've wanted to do these blank white backgrounds for to make them easier to read. And I can understand that. And then you have your corner, like above the control, that tears away for the color indicating what type of card it is. I would much rather... Like, see, we have how Angry Flurry, we have like the orange here. This is an uncommon, so we have the pipe. I would much rather we do something extra, like this pipe, and we keep that tear with the colored brick, regardless of rarity, because that can also, at very first blush, make things easier to recognize, instead of just the rare having like this green brick here. If we could see gray for foundation, blue for action, stuff like that. Again, I like that design is trying new things, and I like that they're trying to make things easier for people who might have some visual disabilities like color blindness, making it easier for them to participate in our game. But it's tricky. Like I said, the first time I looked at Wipeout All Humans, I just thought that blue behind Wipeout All Humans was part of the art. And maybe that's just because of the art style of Turtles. Maybe if this was like the 80s cartoon, obviously I wouldn't expect to see all the spray paint. Or if it was the live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, I wouldn't expect to see the spray paint, so that would be a good indicator. But for some cards like this, especially with the uncommons, it is a little tricky. It is a little tricky, especially like on the control where you just get a little spurt of color to the side. When like with the foundation, you don't get that little spurt. Maybe it's me and maybe I'm nitpicking. But it is a real concern that I've seen. And I'm not trying to criticize harshly. I am just trying to bring up points that I see and offer constructive criticism on. Maybe for next time we can try something a little bit different while keeping a really cool aesthetic of the wall tearing away and seeing the brick. I love that imagery. Maybe keep that on everything and do something different to indicate rarity. Just my 2 cents. Next we have Mechazoids, moving on in the mechanics. Mechazoids are a mutant hunting robot created by Bishop. Interesting. After the incident in Manhattan, you'll find different synergies with these relentless hunters on the Void symbol. Here again, Mechazoid. It's a backup. But it looks very much like a foundation, except for the pink that you see behind the name, and obviously like the stamina. But just little splashes of pink to indicate it's a backup. Maybe make the pipe pink to help out with that. I don't know. But this is an ally, it's a tech. You may include 8 copies of it in your deck. As a static, your abilities treat this card as an asset. So it's a backup that looks like a foundation, and you treat it like an asset. As I've said before, I wouldn't be so against going out on a limb and trying new things and expanding what our game can do if I hadn't had to sit through all of those Bill Stark articles about mental load. A card like this is really going to trip up new players. Because none of this feels... What's the word? When you think about it automatically. Like second nature. None of this feels like it should come to you naturally. This is definitely, especially as an uncommon, a card that you're just going to be confused about and it's going to trip you up a little bit. During your attack as an enhance, you can commit it to force your rival to commit a foundation. That's not bad. And as a response, after this card is destroyed, draw 1 card and discard 1 card. So if your rival attacks it, you get to draw a card and discard a card. That's pretty cool. Next we have Kamikaze Robots. See, here is kind of where the gray spray paint behind the name works, because it clashes with the ground here, with the background. When it blends in, like how for Mechazoid, that pink kind of blends into the background, it's kind of hard to see at first glance. But here we have Form Flip. Add 1 ready copy of Mechazoid from your stage to your card pool face down as an attack with 2 speed and 2 damage. Hold on. Form flip. Add one ready copy of Mechazoid from your stage to your card pool face down as a mid attack with 2 speed and 2 damage. Okay, maybe it's because this is the first we're seeing of this set. In my mind, this card does not work. Now, if anyone from UVS Games is watching this, please correct me in the comments below if I'm reading this wrong or not seeing it right. It's not saying you play the card as an attack, because it doesn't declare a type of difficulty. Unless you're supposed to play it as the difficulty of the Mechazoid. But as a face-down card, it wouldn't have a difficulty, so it's kind of like Beauregard Lionett, how you add it to the attack stack, so it doesn't need a difficulty, but with like Lady Nagant, you do play it, the face-down foundation, as a 2 difficulty card, and you have to make a control check to play it. This just says add a ready copy to your... So it becomes an attack in your card pool. It becomes a mid attack in your card pool, but you can't combo with it unless it's like combo with a face down. And from how this effect reads, it doesn't play it as an attack, so you don't get an enhanced step. It just says add it to your card pool as an attack. If it does play it as an attack, do you not have to make a check for it? This is another, and this is just an uncommon, so maybe it's because we need to see the Bishop or whatever the character that's going to synergize with these Mechazoids does. But that card, just reading it on its own, confuses me a bit. And I like to think I know how to play this game pretty well. So again, anyone from UVS Games, if you're watching this, please let me know in the comments below if I'm way off base or if I'm just reading this wrong, or if maybe this needs a functional errata, like a day 1 errata to say play and like as a 2 difficulty attack or something. I'm not sure. Maybe it'll become clear as we get more reveals, but that's just weird and confusing to me. As for actual mechanics, because these are all just keywords and playstyles, actual mechanics, we get Deflect and Frenzy back. While not new to TMNT, you will find these less common keyword abilities back on an assortment of cards. Starting with Raphael's Sigh. This is an asset. It's a 0/5 with a 1 high block. It's got Deflect 2 and Weapon. Now, I will say this does have the old response for Deflect written on it. Here it reads, response in your hand. Add this card to your card pool after the block step of your rival's attack. It gets -2 damage. Only 1 Deflect ability can be played per attack. But they've recently changed it to where Deflect works at the beginning of the damage step. So it used to be that you couldn't use Deflect to protect your backups. Because backups have no block step because you cannot block if your rival attacks a backup. However, they modified Deflect to now say that it's before the damage step, so it'll get -2 damage even if you can't block it. So even if your rival attacks a backup, Deflect can still be used to minimize damage on a backup. It also says response, after you discard this card, if you have no assets in your stage, build it. So that's kind of reminiscent of the Leo's Katana, which we saw in a different teaser, I think in a newsletter that was talking about the pre-release promo that we get for for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is Leo's Katana. And it says if you mill it and you have no assets, you may build it. So I think all of the boys' weapons are going to be able to build themselves in as long as you don't control an asset when you do the particular action, like here, discarding a card. Enhance, Sacrifice. If you have no cards in your hand, this attack gets -2 damage. So Raphael's going to have a discard mechanic likely, and a or probably a remove from game ability as well, because we see here with Angry Flurry. Pretty sure that's Raphael, because he's the red one. This is a 5/3, 5 mid for 5 with a 1 mid block. Frenzy, which is a blitz ability that says Blitz, this attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage for each block that has been played this turn. So that can turn this attack really powerful. But as a static, if you try to play this attack from your removed pile, it gets -3 difficulty. This makes me concerned for Raphael a little bit, because this is an uncommon attack, and playing cards from your remove from game pile is usually limited to, at the most, once per turn, with characters like King Ghidorah, who can technically remove a card from your discard pile and then attempt to play it. Or what's his name? Endeavor 3. Once per game, he gets to add any attack from his remove from game pile to his hand. If you try to play this card from your remove from game pile, it gets -3 difficulty. So it becomes a 2 difficulty 5 mid for 5 on an uncommon. That tells me Raphael might be able to access his remove from game pile more than once per turn, which is something I don't think any character has been able to do. Nick Reagan can access abilities from his remove from game pile twice per turn, but actually playing a card? I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. Maybe it is a once per turn ability, but why would you put an ability like this, a 2 difficulty 5 mid for 5 with Frenzy, on an uncommon? Why would you waste a... Maybe that's why this is so strong, because if you wasted a once per turn ability on an uncommon, it would feel bad if it wasn't broken. But that tells me that if this is the uncommon, an ultra rare with an ability similar to this is going to be even more powerful. And that unnerves me a little bit as a design space. But again, we'll see. We'll have to see when we see more cards. There's one more new mechanic in the set, so possibly an actual new mechanic, but we'll have to wait until we're ready to talk about the secret rares in this set. Well, hopefully the new mechanic isn't just in the secret rares. That would be weird. Aside from these named mechanics, you'll find a variety of different themes in the set to build around with old and new deck strategies. Cool. You'll have to keep an eye on our content creator allies for a look at upcoming characters, but here's a couple of support that might give you an idea of who to look out for and what they're about. Rocksteady is a brute with a one-track mind towards destruction, while Wingnut is more of a graceful saboteur. So here we have Hard-Headed, a Rocksteady card. 2/5, 3 low block, Enhance Tenacious, which is playable while committed. Flip, clear one face-down card from your card pool. Okay, so this is where I'm going to harp on everything being attuned again a little bit, because the point of attunement was to solidify more symbol identities, so that it's not like, oh, this card has 3 symbols, so it kind of has to do at least one of those symbols' things. So now it's like, this card has the 1 symbol, so it's going to do what that symbol does, or one of the 2 things that symbol does. Earth is usually about damage reduction, and flipping foundations face down both for yourself and your rival. That's what we've seen a lot of, especially in the Critical Role deck, along with an unflipping mechanic. Here we are flipping our own foundation, but we're clearing a card from our card pool, which has usually been staple to the air symbol, and that card has to be a face-down card, which is usually, card pool clogged, face-down cards in card pools is usually for the water symbol. So, an earth symbol card doing water and air things feels a little weird to me. And again, my opinion, I'm not saying that's exactly what's going on here, but that's what it looks like, and it looks like, at that point, why make it an attuned card? Because it doesn't really seem to be doing earth things. So, I don't know. Again, maybe we need to just see more of the set, and I'm jumping to wild conclusions, but off of my opinion and what I'm seeing reading these for the first time, that's just it feels messy to me. And then we have Hold On Tight, a 1/5 with a 3 low block and the air attuned symbol. Enhance Flip, if this attack deals damage, draw a card. Drawing we have seen as a suite across multiple symbols. Usually in every set, at least one card of every symbol will have a draw on it. But at least back in the olden days, the draw symbol was the all symbol. And then you had a lot of draw on good as well. I know Chaos draws a lot now, but Chaos isn't in here for good reason. But what does the all symbol do now? We've had so little of the all symbol since Attuned came out that we don't know what it's going for. We've only had it in Challenger Series where it's kind of just relegated to the deck itself. So is all not going to be the draw symbol anymore? Or is it going to do draw better and this air card just happens to draw? And I think there again, that's the kind of trouble you get when you lock yourself into this attuned symbol identity style of design, because then certain cards just don't feel like they're right for that symbol. Obviously, every symbol should have access to draw. Every symbol should have access to speed hate or damage hate. Obviously, some symbols will want to do them better than others to make that symbol stand out more. So maybe this is just a one-off, and it's the only air card in the 180 card set that draws a card. Maybe. But why not show off, if drawing is going to be like the all symbols thing, why not show off an all attuned card that draws a card? To kind of show us, hey, that's what we're pushing this symbol to do. So far, we know that good is the pizza symbol. Why not show us a good attuned card that does something other than pizza? So far, we know evil is the scheme thing. Granted, pre-attuned, evil was very good at check hacking, which is something I love, and something we see here from Wipe Out All Humans. So, as a control player, maybe evil is going to stick to that kind of paying health for costs was also a big thing for evil, and then check hacking. Good was just all around pretty balanced. I don't really know what good did to stand out apart from everything else, but then again, good was never a symbol I really gravitated towards. As a control player, I'm much more about evil, void, order. Those are the kind of symbols I usually lean to. Although lately I've been playing a lot more air, chaos, water, stuff like that. So yeah, did this article get me? Oh, and then as the cherry on top, here's a couple of versions from the cards from the booster set with the 80s treatment that you'll find in the starter deck. So the starter decks are all going to be reprints of the cards you will find in the boosters, except the deck will have 5 exclusive cards that you will only find in that deck. And all of the cards in the deck will have alternate arts of those original cards that are in the boosters using the 1980s cartoon art style. So we have the Ancient Secrets of Ninjutsu, a 2/4, 3 mid-block, unique, which means you can only have one of it. This has got the all symbol. Enhanced Commit, your kick, punch, or slam attack gets +2 speed and +2 damage. That's pretty good. And then Daily Meditation, 1/5 with a 2 mid-block. Form Flip, look at the top card of your deck, you may mill it. It's got the all symbol. Now, because these are in the deck, and we know that the character in the deck has the all symbol, I would not be surprised if every card in the deck had the all symbol. We can actually see it if we go to Universus Licenses, go to Turtles here. It tells us we got the chromes, we get alt arts with the ooze treatment, which is cool. We have the Leo's Katana, which is not showing here. But yeah, we can see if I can zoom this in. we go. We see that the characters have the character has the all symbol and the good symbol. It's a 6 hand size, 22 health character. We have a Splinter backup here, because you can kind of see the pink here. Kind of blends in, but Splinter is a backup. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more and see what this card actually does. This attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage for each attack in your card pool. Okay. So all in good, and it strings out for each, it gets stronger for each attack in your card pool. Neat. I don't know how good that's going to be. I'll have to see what's actually in the deck. I know there's a lot of cool low difficulty cards, not exactly on these two symbols, as these are the two symbols that have had some of the least support in the past year. But I'm interested to see what happens. I'm interested to see where this goes. But that is all I've got for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles updates. So, what do you guys think? Am I blowing things out of proportion here? Especially when it comes to the attune symbol design, it seems here, or the coloring and design of the actual cards, making them somewhat harder to see what they are. Like, is it just me? Are you guys having no trouble at all? Or do you also think that there is a little bit, I wouldn't say wrong, but where this design might not land? I love this game. This is my favorite game that I've ever played. Not everything's gonna land, and I understand that. But you usually want more to land than not. And so far, it's feeling like a set that is super hyped up is kind of starting out on the wrong foot. But maybe that's just they're saving like the better stuff for last. They just want to give us a taste. That could absolutely be, and maybe I will eat my words here in the next month or so. And I hope I do. I hope that these cards look better in person and look cleaner in person, so you can identify them a lot quicker. Hopefully. I hope I'm wrong on a lot of this, but I also don't want to be someone here who's just blowing smoke for the company. If I see something that legitimately concerns me, I will bring it up. But I try to bring it up in a constructive way, not just naysaying or shouting things down, which makes me sound kind of flip-floppy sometimes. But I try to be respectful above all else, because I know these people work hard to give us a game that we can enjoy, that they love. They pour their hearts and souls into this stuff, so I want it to work. But right now, I'm a little shaky on it. So hopefully we'll see these cards get even better as reveals come on, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.